This is false. I'm Travis Laver. Listen, you might have noticed we didn't have an episode last week, and we almost didn't have one this week either because technical issues and fires in the west end of Windsor and me being a complete dumbass led to us recording this episode like 3 different times. So this is the 3rd time we recorded it. You know, it still turned out pretty good, I think. I think we're professionals, so we handled it. We fucking handled it. And we introduced Cutie. They, them. Kit is going to be a semi-regular, not unlike Gladys Shafley, going to be a semi-regular contributor to the This Is False space, converting from superfan to co-host. And Kit is great, knowledgeable, and funny, and fits right in, as you'll see. And we talk. This is our ACAB for Cutie 2. You might remember our 2nd episode ever. Pam Spanish and I had our ACAB for Cutie Windsor edition episode where we ran down some of the bullshit that the Windsor Police Service has engaged in over the years, shooting people in McDonald's parking lots and other sorts of things like that. And this time we talked about more things that Windsor did. You might have saw some things in the news. So we talk about that. We talk about the RCMP and Kobanushi, and we talk about the OPP murdering an infant. You know, just the usual things that cops do when they're, existing in the world. So that's what this episode's about. We just kind of talked about that. And, yeah, check it out and let us know how you feel about it. You can do that by going and emailing us at thisisfalsepodcast@protonmail.com or following us on social media at thisisfalsepod. You can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/thisisfalse. I'm not an idiot.
Yay,
Well, I am still an idiot, but I think this time we're gonna record and have it work.
But
unlike the last 2 times.
You're my idiot.
Hey.
You're the people's
You're an idiot that learns from their mistakes.
The people's idiot.
We love you, Travis.
They're our mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We collectively fucked up.
So if we seem this time like we don't have any spontaneity and like our responses seem a little bit canned, it's because this is the 3rd fucking time we've tried to record this episode. I was real mad earlier today. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm done.
I knew you needed a French vanilla.
Yeah,
I knew.
you saved my ass. You saved this podcast today, because I would have been like, no, it's done.
Yeah.
We're not doing it anymore.
I know. As soon as I read through the messages in the group chat, I was like, "Oh, buddy."
No, I was so mad. I was vibrating.
Yeah, when you were like, "I'm gonna be offline for a while," I was like, "This motherfucker needs some Tim Hortons."
I was vibrating at a frequency that only birds can hear. Just my entire body.
All
was
the
like,
birds in the neighborhood.
You were transforming into a Kyle in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because we recorded a whole episode. It was good too. God damn it, we were good.
Yeah, we were really funny. Like that would have been the. No, I'm not gonna make any jokes. But that was a really funny one. But we're funny still.
and mostly just that we were talking about important shit. We said smart stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're not. We're gonna be dumb this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone knows we were smart.
At one point, we were smart. Even I was smart. I said some of the smartest shit I've ever said in my life, and you'll never hear it. I'm sorry.
Ev was profound.
Literally,
very profound.
Blah, 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 saying exactly the right thing.
Yeah,
that was
Ev.
Yeah, basically, it was because you weren't actually on mic.
Yeah, so
the whole time you were just not on mic.
You know what? And I'm sure that I would have gotten numerous offers for like academia. I would have.
Yeah,
honorary degrees and shit.
Yeah, I would.
Could have just fast tracked you. Yeah, honorary degrees. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
This could have been your thesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have John Clarked you, just made you a professor despite 0 on-paper qualifications.
Absolutely.
See, if they can do that for John Clark.
I'm saying that to be an asshole, but that's because he's like also a genius.
Yeah.
He
also,
actually
and
is.
like in the company of Ev.
Ev yesterday for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But today it's all gone.
It was the Fresca.
Yeah, it was.
So we have a 4th person.
Yeah.
It's Kit T. Kit's
Salut.
Kit T.
Hi, Kit.
How's it going? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, So we'll do the whole thing again. No.
So good to
I'm not doing
meet
it
you
again.
for the
Kit-
first time.
But
This
I
is
have
brand
to
new
point,
information.
I have to point out the awesomeness that is Kit T's name, and they also foster kittens. And
Right.
I have to bring it up again. I'm sorry. Well, I mean,
Wow,
it's the
I
first
never
time.
would have guessed it would have been any relation. That's a
Is
wow.
it almost like they're a cat superhero?
It's almost like
Wow.
they're a cat
Wow.
superhero.
Not
Wisconsin! What is that shit?
They're used to. It was so good yesterday, and now it's bullshit.
Why are you repping Wisconsin?
Because I went there finally. It was one of my last states to get.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get
which,
into
by the
anything
way,
serious, yeah.
can I just make a statement about what I just said? I'm trying not to say that anymore. Because for a while this is so off topic, but the way we talk about travel is really important. And to get a place is pretty like colonist in a way of thinking about traveling, right?
Yeah, it's very whose streets, our streets.
Yeah.
And like, I got this state, I got that one, and check it off my list, you know? Like, you gotta be careful. Sorry. Tangent.
Okay, but that being said, which state had the best American hyper cornstarch food? Because I've only been to Michigan, and even Michigan just was so good.
Oh, yeah. So
Florida. Florida
Okay,
and
that's cool.
Texas. When I was in Florida, there was a hamburger that's buns were grilled cheese sandwiches.
What the fuck?
Way to America, America.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm all about that. In that way, I am very much an American patriot when it
Yeah.
comes to their over sugary oiled foods.
Yeah, we've talked
me
about
some-
that before.
Yeah,
It's
every-
like,
Their
it's the
freezer
thing.
aisles, like all their like frozen desserts and stuff, it just just goes.
Every
They
every
don't put
time.
any malts and salts vinegar or salts and malts vinegar on their
Oh,
on their
yeah.
tables.
That actually
Figure it out.
that really pisses me out.
Fucking figure it out, bud.
Doesn't piss me out.
What's going on down there? Do
Yeah.
they even have internet?
Like
Running water?
Grow up.
This is why we gotta invest in creating a quote unquote authentic Canadian restaurant in America. Because can you imagine if Americans discovered real poutine and not random cheddar cheese on top of some fries?
Yeah.
It would change their lives.
Like if they saw like curds on fries, they'd be like,
And they
what?
get a little squeak
The
when they
fuck?
bite
They
into
think
the
it's
curd.
weird to have. They think gravy is that white gravy, right? Like the gravy and
Yeah.
biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having gravy with your fries, the first time I was down south and I asked for gravy for my fries, they like gave me this white stuff, and I was just like,
Ew.
Ugh.
It's delicious.
Oh
"This
no.
is someone's
You're
clam
wrong.
chowder." Yeah,
White
but it's not
gravy?
what you're expecting. It's not what you're expecting.
Southern white gravy is fucking delicious. I will fight you right now.
Okay, so I've had this conversation before.
I will bare knuckle brawl you
So the
right
only
here on this rug,
the only the booty scooting
and I will
rug.
get my ass kicked.
The only you will. The only white gravy that I have ever had in the U.S. was at Denny's.
Oh well, that's not the same.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's like the only pancakes you've ever had is from Denny's.
yeah, no, I don't fuck around with pancakes. I know my good pancakes.
It's
Don't
IHOP or
even
fucking bust.
It's my dad's house on
International
Sunday.
House of Pancakes.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't call it that for no reason. Anyway, so I was in. I used to go to the States all the time for Derby to play, and the one time I was fully unprepared to do a game in Detroit, and I had $0. Like the rest of the team had to like crowdfund to get my travel expenses covered, and I literally had like $3 to spend on food while I was there. So we went to a Denny's as soon as we got there, and I couldn't afford anything except for biscuits and gravy. And I was like, sure, I'll get some gravy on some biscuits, whatever the fuck that is. Sure, yeah. And then it came out to me, and I was like, why is there clam chowder on my biscuits?
That's
Like,
what I thought it was. It was
Yeah.
like someone's cream of something soup is here.
Which, by the way, clam chowder with fries is amazing. I'm just saying.
What?
Yeah, it is. If you
No.
No, it's true. It's so good. You dip your fries in the clam chowder. Okay, but anyway.
No.
I
No,
just don't
you're-
know.
you're
Like
wrong.
even the whole like milkshake frosty thing with fries, I can't get into that either.
It's so good.
Star
Really?
loves that
It's
shit.
so good.
So good.
So good.
It is.
No.
Listen,
weird.
you and I are going the next time we're doing
it's
something.
okay, milkshakes and fries and milkshakes, I understand the appeal. I don't not like it. It makes both of those things slightly worse. It's not that it's
No.
bad. It
You're
just makes
completely
both
wrong.
of them worse.
It
a
makes
little
You're
them
wrong.
a different thing entirely.
No.
An amazing
bit.
and
It
magical
ruins the
experience.
fry a little bit, and it ruins the milkshake a little bit. There's
You're
just
completely
not
wrong.
really like just keep them separate and eat them the way they are.
Take your fucking
You're
headphones off.
totally-
We're fighting.
You're totally entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. I used to travel around the States all the time. I'd rent a car and like go watch baseball games in random stadiums.
Yeah, and just
That's
eat bland
very you.
fries.
Yeah, it's very B. So I went to a game in Memphis and saw the Memphis Redbirds as a AAA affiliate of the Cardinals. No one really cares, but that's the thing. It's a beautiful stadium. If you ever get a chance to go, please do. And get their fucking chicken and gravy thing. I forget what it's called. It's like chicken and gravy something.
I will not.
Have you ever?
Why did it to be like this? It's chicken and gravy on mashed potatoes. What and it's
That's everything I've
authentic
ever wanted.
southern. It's authentic southern fried chicken with the white gravy. It is the fucking best thing I've ever
Fine.
put in my mouth.
Fine.
I'll fight
Highly
you.
doubt
I'll
that.
fight you right now.
You will die.
Have you ever heard
slow,
of Steak and
painful death.
Shake?
What the fuck is wrong with Americans?
Shake and bake? What?
Steak and Shake.
Oh, I thought you said a bacon shake. I was like, no.
But I want to. No, it's a restaurant.
Yes.
And my friend like hyped up their French or their chicken, what are these things called? Strips.
Yeah.
And I was like,
These chicken tendies.
Chicky tendies.
yeah. And I gave up meat in '98, and I went and visited her in like 2004 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And she like got me to try them. She thought, like you're here, you're traveling, you have to try them. And I bit into it, and it was still freaking raw.
Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah, well that. Can't
And now when you say like
Can't have any of that.
authentic, now when I hear authentic chicken, that was the thing that like got me into the mindset to try this amazing thing. And it's such a
I feel like just someone
Such
just
a
kind of
trigger.
fucked up on that one a little bit.
yeah.
They
So
shit
you
the
don't
bed,
have
for
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't have to add that into the episode.
I mean,
That makes me
Full
want
story.
to
recommendation.
throw up.
is-
Okay, so let's get going on the real
Right.
shit
Right.
here, so we can get the
Yes.
fuck out of here, so I never have to do another podcast ever again.
See you
I'm
next
kidding
week.
mostly.
I'm retiring forever.
So we decided we were gonna have ACAB for Cutie 2, electric, shoot me in the face.
Electric puppy side.
It wasn't even that funny. It's just your laugh is the best thing ever. Your laugh makes me laugh. I can't handle it.
I mean, I think it's pretty funny because it represents so much of what you're actually feeling. Like, this is such a raw episode. It's so funny. You're really hearing how Trevor feels today.
Okay.
Travy Lavy after dark.
Travi Lavy, take 3.
Oh,
damn it.
fuck. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read. This is not a thing to laugh at, but we're
No.
gonna because it's terrible.
It was a somber moment.
Now I can't.
We may have been desensitized by doing this 3 times.
Yeah, we were really
Maybe a little
emotional
bit.
yesterday.
To the listeners that have only, heard it once, sorry.
So this story.
Well, that's cut.
This is from the CBC, and if you're from Windsor, you've definitely seen and heard this story already. But you haven't heard us talk about it, so shut the fuck up. All right, so the headline is Windsor woman in disbelief after police shoot, kill dog in her backyard. So that's a thing that happened. I'll read a little bit from the article. Windsor resident Diane Scott is still in disbelief after she says police shot and killed her 10-year-old dog in her backyard Thursday morning. After someone knocked on Scott's door in the Forest Glade neighborhood, she said she went to let her dog Chloe out in the backyard as the Rottweiler Doberman gets excited when people are around. Having done so, Scott said she opened the front door to 2 Windsor police officers. They were looking for her son's friend who was at the house. Before she knew it, Scott said she heard a gunshot in the backyard. It turns out that while the officers were at the front door, others had gone to the back. I was like, "What the hell?" she said. And they said, "Go attend to your dog. It has just been shot."
That's a normal way to tell someone that.
That's so random.
Just we don't know what happened.
What can you ask for? Go check on your dog.
I think your
Jeez.
dog's been shot. Weird. There's smoke coming from this gun I'm holding. I don't know what happened.
Did you know your dog has a bullet in it? Like, you
Yeah,
should get
you
that
should-
checked out.
I don't know if you know this or not, but your dog is bleeding from a bullet wound.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Why were there people in your yard? I don't know. But your
Oh.
dog's got a bullet in it. I don't know.
What happened?
Chloe then came back into the house, went into Scott's bedroom and curled up on the carpet. This is so fucking
Oh,
sad.
God.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's the saddest.
They ended up taking the dog to the vet. They tried to do a surgery, and the dog later died. So not only is her 10-year-old Rottweiler dead, but also she has to pay like $4,000 in
Yeah, her
vet
vet
bills,
bill's really big.
and she's not
Yeah.
of money. It doesn't seem. There's a GoFundMe. Maybe we can put up a link to that. But really, the fucking police should be paying for it, because what the shit?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think she's gone, like, the community has sent, like, more than covered her vet bill by now, but, like, honestly, just keep sending the money.
Yeah, keep sending the money.
It's a message
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that GoFundMe should, like, quadruple, like, at
And
least.
hopefully it'll get her a good lawyer if they're not doing it pro bono already.
Yeah, I mean, I read an article about a lawyer who had heard about it and was completely outraged because not only did the police go into her backyard without a warrant or anything, but they were searching for someone who didn't live there as well, which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And what was the plan? Like, what was the plan? You're going around the back to de-escalate the situation? I don't think so. Not with your guns being your...
Yeah, you just shot her fucking dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that they were probably going around back to, like, if he got flushed out, the guy they were looking for, that they could, apprehend him in the backyard. But they just decided to unannounced walk into a backyard where there was a fucking Rottweiler. Yeah. And, like, from all accounts, the dog had never been aggressive, and the owner had said she probably was just running up to them to, like, get pets, like, excitedly to get pets.
Yeah, because dogs love pets.
Yeah, and even if the dog was being aggressive, this is why we fucking get dogs.
Yeah.
To, like, partially to protect us, right? And so somebody's
how they
waltzing
became
into your
domesticated.
backyard.
I should really return Josh, though.
Yeah, he's not that good at that.
He's pretty bad at that.
But that's like where our partnership came in. That was part of our partnership with dogs. That's how they became domesticated.
Yeah, exactly.
And these police officers should have had some sort of training to handle dogs. Am I wrong on this? Where they
supposedly have training on that. But not
so
only...
then how come the arsenal of things they had at their disposal was not the first thing they went for? How come it was the lethal weapon?
Well,
because he probably already had it in mind that he was gonna use his gun that day.
And they might have already had his gun drawn.
Exactly.
Ready to shoot the fucking guy who's gonna come out of the house.
Well,
Who knows?
That's what I'm thinking.
Right? Like, I mean, they have a Batman utility belt of fucking shit that could neutralize a dog attack should they want to use it in a non-lethal way.
Yeah.
Or a less lethal way, I should say.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, pepper spray and a taser could still kill a
sure
dog.
kill a
but,
dog,
like,
yeah.
It's less likely to than a bullet, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's...
And it's...
Sorry. The part... No, it's okay. The part where the dog crawls into the house and lays on the floor, like, that makes me want to kick in, like, the door in a video game of the police.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to...
Yeah, just want to stomp on the esophagus of a police officer.
Just so badly.
In a video
so
game.
badly. In a video game.
In a video game.
In a video
Yeah.
game.
Minecraft.
In Minecraft, I really want to fashion a very large hammer and just go to town. Like fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit style. Just fucking steamroller those
And the thing is, like, so the media has been covering this a lot. I would suggest because I think the shooting of a dog is pretty much universally panned, whether or not you're of the ACAB mindset or not. You're probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so it's gotten a lot of media coverage that's been very sympathetic to the victims in this case. But when, like, a person gets shot, that's never the case.
That's it. Yeah. That bothers the shit out of me. But, I mean, it's still,
There's a lot less dogcists than there are racists or sexists or...
Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody loves dogs. If you don't love dogs, you still don't want to see someone's pet get shot,
The comment section on the dogs that have been shot is, like, unlike... It's the least pro-cop that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never see that on when it's... Even the negative ones are about the people, usually. Like, why did they have a fugitive in their house?
Yeah.
One of the negative things I've seen.
That's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't not swear. I gotta swear.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why you're not trying to, but also should be noted too that Diane Scott is not white.
Yeah. That's a good thing to point out.
So, the fact that they were going around the back and going into the yard of a person of color, presumably with guns drawn or at least at the ready, as was
not
evidenced.
skipping. They're not going in there like, "Hi, puppy."
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, they're not. They're probably going in there aggressively, and so yeah, it would be understandable for a dog to actually like read that aggressiveness in the body language and you know do
Protect
something
their
about
pet.
it.
Josh
Yeah.
reads it in cops all the time, man. Josh fucking hates
Oh,
cops.
their entire fucking stance is like that.
Yeah, exactly. And when they're coming into a backyard and just wandering into the backyard, just being like, okay, I'm gonna probably shoot someone today, and then, you know, the dog is like, oh shit, this person is aggressive and way bigger than me and is scary and has a bunch of big bulky shit on them. That's
Some dogs are
understandable.
reactive to sunglasses because they can't read eyes. Could you imagine full, like they were
Yeah.
probably in some sort of tactical gear, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well, they wander around the street normally in tactical gear.
Exactly.
like
So, I
that.
mean,
Like they may not be in full SWAT uniform, but they're wearing huge Kevlar vests and you know are decked out in black, and they look like an occupying military force because that's how they act.
Yeah. They
yeah.
do.
But they think they are. They are, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
And it's
fucked
not
up.
a rare occurrence. Like, I was looking it up. The Department of Justice, they called it a puppy-side epidemic. And they said that in
Wait,
the
the
United
Department of
States...
Justice called it that?
Yeah, well, the reporting on it, but yeah, that it's an
reporting on it,
epidemic of 25 to 30 dogs per day, at least in the United States alone. Up to 10,000 dogs a year are shot.
That's so
It's
fucked up.
impossible to know the numbers because most places in Canada as well, they're considered property. So damaging property or killing property, I guess technically, is not a legal problem here.
I mean, I thought cops were set up to protect property. Isn't that like the one thing they're good at doing?
Rich people's property
Rich people's property.
and
Yeah.
corporation property. Like, it's not for citizen, you know, regular Joe property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever talked to me about my dog as property, I would punch them in the fucking throat.
Yeah. And here's something from a little bit close to home. In Detroit, there was 2 cops that within their full career, they have confirmed killed over 100 cops. Oh, sorry, I wish. I mean, in Minecraft.
In a video game.
In a video game.
Like how Mo is only saying that. That's like Mo's entire audio. It's just every time we say something illegal, he's like, in a video game.
I really want a T-shirt. I just want our catchphrase to be like, in a
In a
video.
video game.
Allegedly.
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 Continue.
Hey, let me try that again. In Detroit, within 2 cops' career in Detroit, not just their like career in other places, because they love to be bumped around, right?
Yeah.
In Detroit alone, they killed over 100 dogs confirmed between
Just the
them.
2 of them?
Just 2 cops in Detroit.
That seems like it's a competition at that point. That really
Right.
seems like that's... what
well,
the fuck?
I mean, Travis was talking about how there is competitions that occur between police officers a lot of times, especially amongst these little gangs they have.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was listening to an episode of Pod Damn America, which I feel like I say in every episode and also twice in this episode.
Don't ever stop.
They had a person on who has been like compiling a database of all of the different things, all of the different shitty things that cops have done in the LA and LA County areas. So like a database if they've killed someone, shot someone, hurt someone, sexually assaulted, like essentially bad cop behavior, and they put it in a database that's searchable, and they've been working on it for a long time. And they also discovered through this research that the LA County Sheriff's Department, the LASD, is known to have like their cops are in like their own little gangs, not in like other gangs. They're in their own gangs that they've made up within the police department in order to have like competitions and quotas for killings and shootings and shit.
That is
And
so fucked up.
there's one that has a tattoo of a skull and a revolver, and there's lines of smoke coming out of the revolver, and for each line of smoke that represents someone that they've killed. And there's like cops that have like 6 lines of smoke coming out. They've killed 6 people, and this is like a thing that they're doing.
And at what point does that not become like a contest where you start respecting someone that has the most squiggly lines?
I mean, I think that's the entire point. And to intimidate people into not fucking with this cop, because look, he's got 6 kills.
Oh God.
Yeah, this isn't a fun episode, folks. That's why we were laughing at the beginning, just so you know, trying to lighten it before we hit you with all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fucking horrifying, and the most fucked up part about it is that it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Like, this is the type of behavior that you would expect from cops because they're all bastards.
Yeah.
And if they're shooting people at the rate they shoot people, how would they not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can get away with the dogs much easier. You don't even have to write a report.
Yeah, exactly. It's property. You just damage property.
It's like knocking your TV over during an apprehension.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, if you shoot a dog, a cop dog, it's minimum 5 years according to Quanto's law.
And is that in the U.S.? Were you able to?
Yeah, I think it's no, that's Canada. I believe that's Canada. I feel like it's out of Winnipeg.
So if you shoot a police dog, you get.
And it was based on a police dog being shot in Winnipeg. I looked up a lot of stuff today, but that's what my brain is saying.
It was a dog named Quantos. Is that why it's called Quantos?
Yes. Yeah.
Because dogs that are cops are considered like people. You know?
They get medals and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And civilian dogs are property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they think that they're better than everybody else.
I just fucking I can't handle this shit, man. I like the people who are still not on the defund the police, abolish the police thing. Like, I just this isn't a training problem. This isn't a problem of lack of body cams. This isn't we know that those things don't actually do much to improve the behavior of cops because it goes so far beyond the ability to keep them accountable.
Yeah.
This is like a culture. It's like, I talked about it when we recorded this episode before, but police stations across the United States have been working this propaganda campaign for decades that has led to TV shows and movies, and every single time a cop is mentioned in our popular culture, it's done so with this like, oh, they're the protagonist of the story. They are the heroes. They're gonna save everybody. Yeah. And even when there are bad cops, they're set up in juxtaposition to good cops who try to hold those bad cops accountable.
Yeah.
So like
exactly.
It's just there's no and this has become so pervasive. It's become so ingrained in our society that you can't train it out of them. This is inherent to being a police officer, and that's why people are on the defund and abolish police.
Yeah, abolition is the only answer at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ingrained in their culture and their training and everything that it's not going to be something that a 20-hour seminar course is going to correct.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yeah, we've got sirens.
Yeah.
And
you tell them from the county, I'm like, ooh, what you got?
Anyone,
I don't even hear them anymore. They're so pervasive.
I know. Anyone joining a police force is already, like, even if they are well-intentioned and they're, like, gonna do the right thing and they're gonna be the good cop that stands out from the rest, you're still joining an institution that's inherently racist and murderous and completely wrong. So there's no...
And there's studies constantly about the good cops and how they're pushed off forces and how they're, you know what I mean? It's like, you are literally swimming against a really toxic tide when you are a good cop, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. I had a family member who became a police officer, and he lasted like maybe a year because he was trying to expose a big thing that was happening that all of the other cops already knew about, and they were like, no, we're not doing this one. We're letting this one slide. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to...
Yeah. Well, and they're notorious for, like, if you do speak out against them, they'll fucking, like...
He got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got the actual shit beat out of him, and he ended up having to leave the force because...
Oh, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
And that's what happens. You either turn in to a bad cop if you spend enough time there, or you don't make it. So there are no good police officers. There are no good cops.
No.
It's not possible.
I have an uncle that's a police officer, and there was many times at our family dinners where he would be telling stories, and he would be like using racialized language about stereotypes. I don't know if I used that correctly, but like he would be using accents in a derogatory way, and he would be, you know what I mean? He would have slurs for certain types of people, and you know, and it was like some of it was less problematic, like it would be like just the dumb blonde,
Yeah.
But even just that mentality, the dumb blonde, like as just the scratching of being willing to say that in front of people
So comfortably because you have an
so
entire
comfortably.
organization backing
And
you
that's the
up.
only one I'm willing to say out loud because, and I'm even feeling like I got gross goosebumps going
Yeah.
on from it.
Yeah.
Because just thinking of the way he's spoken, he's sorry, I'm bilingual and sometimes it messes with me. But just how he has talked about people and the way that he has spoken as those people in their accents
Yeah.
as a like punchline.
Yeah.
That's fucking
And it's like,
disgusting.
and he flew through the ranks,
Oh, of course.
right?
Of course. The
Yeah.
more
Oh.
broy you are, the farther you go.
Go ahead.
That's
Yep.
it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. It's like
Remind me to tell the story. I told it when we tried to record this last night, so you have to act shocked when I tell you. But I'll tell you the story. Tell the story again in a bit. I'll tell the story about how I was followed by cops shortly after starting the podcast.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into in a bit. But I want to move on to these other stories that are also cop related because this is ACAB for Cutie after all. Mm-hmm. And so this came out this week. So you'll remember Kobanushi, who was shot. Kobanushi. This is the thing; it's so hard to keep track. Kobanushi was the one who was shot by the farmer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in Saskatchewan. Like he was with his friends, and the farmer shot him point blank in the head, probably while he was sleeping in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So that was in 2016. And there has been an independent report that has been commissioned since then. Independent,
Emphasis
as in this is
on independent.
Yeah, this one is not done by like a police oversight board like the SIU, which is not really independent. It's not a government agency that's done this. It is entirely independent.
Yeah.
And here's the story from the CBC. Colton Bushy's family speaks out against discrimination found in scathing report about RCMP. The family of Colton Bushy, the young Indigenous man from Saskatchewan whose shooting death was investigated by the RCMP in 2016, is speaking out following the release of an independent report that found Canada's National Police Force racially discriminated against Bushy's mother. RCMP Commissioner Brenda Luckie has accepted the finding of racial discrimination, along with many others detailing numerous police missteps during the investigation, including the mishandling of witnesses and evidence, and the sensitive process of notifying Debbie Baptiste of her son's death. Quote, "I did not deserve to be treated the way I was treated," Baptiste said at a news conference hosted by the family on Monday morning. She said the family was not treated like human beings. Quote, the way they were treated was unacceptable," Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said during an unrelated announcement in Quebec. "We have seen, unfortunately, examples of systemic racism within the RCMP, within many of our institutions, and we need to do better."
Then do better.
That's why I send the RCMP to deal with
Wet Sweat and
other
and everything. Like,
and Nova Scotia.
Literally
and
later that day, he's like going into a briefing where he's sending the RCMP in to trample on some Indigenous rights.
Yeah.
You know, but
you know why they started the RCMP, right, Trudeau?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
he does.
exactly.
Liberals don't like history. They don't like it because
Oh.
it makes them look bad every time. So they just ignore it like it's not a real thing.
Yeah, they like to talk down to everybody and be like, we need to do better, but not actually us. Like, just the rest of you.
This is unrelated but related. I don't know if you saw today that so the Conservative Party recently had a vote. The Conservative Party of Canada recently had a vote to acknowledge that climate change is real, and they voted it down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which shocking. So the Liberals today released a T-shirt because they're fundraising off of this, right? This is what Liberals do. They're just like the Democrats in the U.S. So now they're
Nothing like
fundraising.
fast fashion.
Yeah, they're fundraising off of this by having T-shirts that say "Climate change is real" with a little Liberal logo underneath it.
Which is fucking hilarious.
Mo, what do you think of that, Mo?
I mean, what else do the Liberals do? It's kind of like that thing where like there's so many just like T-shirt warriors who just like create T-shirts or like products, and like I am no exception to that. I will be making many a product in the future.
Yeah.
But like,
gotta respect the group.
but this is the lazy liberal activism that we always see, where like people don't actually want to do anything. They just want feel gooderies and like, look how great we are, and like just talking about how like oh, we believe in all these things. It's like, do something then. I don't need more of your Gildan t-shirts being oversold. Why don't
Yeah.
you go do something?
It's not even
And then-
about. It's not even about them doing nothing. It's what they actually do.
Yeah, and when they
You know?
do stuff, it sucks. But I would at
Do
least,
you?
I would at least be like, hey,
You
at
do.
least you tried. You tried to do something. So it's kind of good that they just sell T-shirts to like people who should probably not buy T-shirts from the Liberal Party of Canada. But it's just like, this is what liberals do. They either do nothing and just talk about how much they want to do, or they do something and it's terrible and it ruins things, and and then it's just like, oh, but we did stuff. Why are you so upset?
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile, they
when
buy a
I say
pipeline.
liberals, I mean, yeah.
They
hey,
also
look,
like
I
to
mean,
make big speeches about what needs to be done.
okay,
Yeah.
but they bought a pipeline for justice. Okay, like that was for justice.
And like
Okay.
they get so West Wing brain, and I mean that like there's if you ever get a chance, listen to the West Wing thing. It's a podcast that critiques the show The West Wing from a left wing perspective. It's fucking gold.
Ooh.
But like the it's hosted by Dave Anthony among others, but Dave Anthony and Josh Olson. Dave Anthony's a fantastic comedian. I've definitely mentioned this in the podcast before, but
Yeah.
the point is like that's like peak West Wing brain, and the Liberal Party of Canada is very much. I think that they are probably influenced more by Aaron Sorkin than they are by any historical fact of their party. So like, it's unsurprising that they would be like that. Trudeau would say this to bring it back to this RCMP report. You know, like, yes, we have seen many examples of systemic racism. We must do better. We're
Yes.
not gonna though,
Yeah,
like
maybe
because
next
because
time.
doing better probably means a lot more than just like token sort of like
Yeah.
being like, we're gonna be left racist. Like it actually does mean like land back, motherfucker.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what that actually means. Doing better means that, and they're never gonna do that.
Well, because
Nope.
to do that, they have to acknowledge that they fucked up, and they've been.
And they would
fucking-
have to upset their voters by making things right.
Yeah.
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 One of the things that I always think about every time the Liberals do some stupid shit like this T-shirt thing, is that they must have someone on payroll who's just like, they pay this person to do just like 12 hours of blow and then come up with like business ideas. Because like I've talked to so many of that person where they're like, it's like 3 a.m. and they're like, man, you know what? That should go on a T-shirt, and we should make like 36,000 of them and just push them out, man. Push them out.
Yeah.
And
You
then-
know what else we can do? We
Yeah.
can buy a fucking bar. Let's buy
yeah,
a bar.
let's buy a bar. We'll call it the Crack Box. It'll be great because when
my
you
God,
open
that's
up
the
bar,
best name for a bar
it's such a
ever.
good name. It's such a
Oh
good name
my
because
God.
you crack a beer open. It's gonna be great. You know what? I feel like I got a million more ideas like this. Hey, JT, T-shirts. Like fuck
See,
off.
I was here picturing Leslie Knope with her like sign maker guy that's always on standby that she's got to buy like
yeah.
bribery gifts for.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of propaganda, though, like that Parks and Rec was such a like liberal propaganda
God.
thing.
Holy
for me.
my
shit.
God.
It's a great show, but
is.
the politics
It
are
is.
so fucking terrible.
The politics are
Oh
fucked.
my
lib.
God.
And I've been
I used to
I've
love that
rewatched
show,
it.
though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
I
great
love
show.
Leslie Knope. Leslie Knope is like the coolest liberal I've ever met.
Yeah.
But like none of them are actually like that.
Yeah, the hard on
Uh,
for Biden is really offset,
Oh
off-putting.
my-
But I
I
honestly
recently
like.
rewatched, and that was just so cringy.
Yeah,
And then,
I
Like
know.
John
There
McCain
is-
made like a fucking cameo appearance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
in the
Shit,
closet.
Somebody else did that was really bad too. There was I think not Rumsfeld, but there was a couple people in there that were really bad.
Oh, there were like a ton. I recently rewatched it too because COVID time. But like,
It is such a good show.
it's such a good show,
Like,
and it,
you
know,
can enjoy something and recognize the politics are terrible.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
like-
the West Wing, you can't because it's just a bad show with terrible politics. But,
Brooklyn
like, Parks and
Nine-Nine,
Rec
I'm
is
gonna
good.
say it.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Propaganda at its fine. Same creator as.
Which is
Hey,
a
Law and Order.
hilarious
Listen,
show.
I went through 10 seasons of Law and Order, and that's where I got stuck. But I
Wow.
will watch the other 10 one
Oh,
day.
buddy, you hit me up with some Law and Order SVU, and I will be down. I will be down.
Oh,
Okay.
My
look.
mistake was starting with the original and not just going straight to SVU. But now I like, and it's so weird.
Yo,
the
they're
show is so
coming.
weird because
They know we're talking about them.
someone
talking
talked
shit.
about the dog.
Someone brought up Chloe's name.
Triangulate.
Someone's walking their dog.
Hey, maybe that's what happened to yesterday's episode, Travis. It wasn't your fault. It was,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
somebody.
The cops.
We were
switched the input to
sabotaged.
microphone input,
Like,
you
shut
know.
that
They
bitch up.
set a fire. They set a fire the first time.
Yeah, they did.
Oh.
So just before we move on from Kobanushi, so this is from the Globe and Mail. This one I didn't mention the first time I recorded because I just found it today. But this from the Globe and Mail, and it goes a little bit further than the CBC, which that can happen. They're both terrible. But this one details a lot more than just there was some discrimination. And this is RCMP destroyed police records from the night of Kobanushi. From the night Kobanushi died. Destroyed police records is a lot different than some systemic discrimination. We all got it. We all got to deal with it. This is like, no, they destroyed fucking records. Like
that's bigger than not having to give your notes over. Destruction of evidence.
Yeah. So here's from the story. The RCMP destroyed records of police communications from the night Kobanushi died and conducted a parallel internal probe into the handling of the case without notifying the civilian watchdog, according to a report from the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission. The CRCC expressed disappointment and frustration with the police decision to destroy recordings and transcripts of radio traffic between officers who responded to the fatal shooting of Mr. Bushi, a 22-year-old Cree man, in August 2016. The CRCC also said it had serious concerns that it wasn't told about a separate simultaneous RCMP internal investigation into the handling of the case. The CRCC is an independent body that investigates public complaints against the RCMP. Mr. Bushi was shot to death when he and 4 companions entered property of Saskatchewan farmer Gerald Stanley. Mr. Stanley was eventually found not guilty of second-degree murder in a case that stirred racial tensions and sparked protests. Yeah, if we were going to go over the history of the Kobanushi thing, it's really fucked up.
He also had what appeared to be an all-white jury.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they deliberately excluded Indigenous jurors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend, a musician friend, who was originally from Toronto or Montreal. I think maybe Montreal.
Yeah.
Moved to Saskatchewan with his partner and had a kid and started raising the kid. And because of this, the Kobanushi thing was the straw that broke the camel's back. They moved back to Montreal after that.
Yep.
Because they were like, I'm not raising my kid in this fucking province.
Oh yeah.
Because of like the
that's
insane
saying a lot
racism.
moving back to Quebec.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they said it's just so overt that he was legitimately worried that his kid would grow up racist, because if you grow up in Saskatchewan and you're white, you're probably gonna grow up racist.
Yeah.
So he moved them back to Montreal.
That's so
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, much better.
Yeah, Montreal is a pretty dope city.
It is.
With a lot of racism, but
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but there's a lot of brown people too.
That's true.
Sure.
There's a lot of non-white people in general.
Mm-hmm.
So the recordings would have particular relevance to aspects of the investigation that dealt with how police notified Ms. Baptiste of her son's death. The police maintain they took a tactical approach to encircle her home and then search the premises because they believed that one of Mr. Bushi's companions may have been inside and armed. The CRCC found that surrounding the house with officers carrying carbines wasn't in keeping with a reasonable risk assessment, nor was it appropriate or compassionate in the circumstances. Yeah, no shit. This is how you're going to inform this mother that their child has been shot by a fucking dipshit farmer.
Around the house.
Surround the fucking house and make her into a criminal. Jesus. Meanwhile, they're fucking taking Gerald Stanley out for goddamn poutine at the diner.
They're getting back to their roots, asserting control over Indigenous people. They're just getting back to their roots.
After Ms. Baptiste collapsed in tears on the hearing of her son's death, an officer asked if she'd been drinking.
Fuck you.
Wow.
One or more officers smelled her breath. The CRCC said those actions were insensitive and linked to a stereotypical understanding of Indigenous people, which led to the finding of racial discrimination. This goes a lot further than the CBC story does.
Yes, it sure does.
The RCMP also proceeded to search the family home, which the CRCC said was unreasonable and unlawful. The CRCC was surprised to learn after its work was nearly complete that the RCMP had been conducting a parallel investigation of the case. The internal review ran the risk of interfering with the work of the CRCC, the commission said. The CRCC only learned of the administrative RCMP review in February 2020 after it had completed its interim report. During the course of its review, the police force interviewed many of the same witnesses as the CRCC and didn't pass on its findings in a timely manner, the commissioner said.
Of course not.
So it goes on. But, yeah.
ACAB.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? I gotta stop saying I mentioned it on the other version of the episode because nobody cares. I would highly recommend, if people haven't heard of this, going to Canadaland Commons. I mean, I know Canadaland has issues. I'm not going to abide by everything Jesse Brown does and his labor practices, which aren't great. But one thing he does do, and one thing Canadaland does, is they bring in a lot of marginalized voices, and they tend to make much better content than Jesse Brown does on his parent channel. But Canadaland Commons, Archie Mann has been doing an investigation. It's called Fuck the Police, and he's been doing an investigation into different police forces in Canada and police brutality and racial discrimination, etc. And he had a whole history of the RCMP within that. And one of the things that he said during the research portion, in one of the first episodes, he says, like, this was the hardest thing he'd ever had to do from a research standpoint, because there just isn't a proper history of the RCMP out there to get.
Yeah.
He said he had to rely on, like, a lot of witness testimony of shit and, like, indigenous history, like indigenous oral history and written history that actually did talk about what the RCMP was really doing. Because, again, to go along in that propaganda conversation, like, what's the image of the RCMP that we see, right? It's fucking Dudley Do-Right in the stupid red jacket with the fucking brown hat and the striped pants.
Yeah.
And
super cute horse.
Oh, hey there, didn't know yet.
How can I help you? You got a cat stuck in the tree?
Yeah, can I change your tire? Didn't dare know yet. Like, that's basically
Here's
the
some
whole
candy at a parade.
Yeah, like that's the fucking image of the RCMP that has been knowingly cultivated by the Canadian government and by the RCMP itself. Not this shit, right? They're the cuddly little representatives of Canada that would never think to do harm to anyone.
Have you hugged a beaver today?
Meanwhile, back to other Chris, legit stealing children.
It's like a lot of the divide is so stark. It's so weird because, like, Canada is like, the divide is stark in America as well. But in Canada, when you have these kinds of conversations, like, the problem with, like, Canadian culture around, like, any sort of progress and making things better is that there's the people who are like, yes, we need to change things, it's so obvious, let's do it. Then there's the people who are like, everything is perfect here and you are all just destroying everything and tearing down our culture, which is ironic coming from Canadians. But then there's all the people who are just like, oh, everything's not that bad. I just don't want to be divisive, and I want everything. We should all just get along, like, we just talk it out and be happy. And we're in Canada. Aren't we in Canada? We're not in that wacky America. But Americans are at least more honest and direct about their feelings, which is actually really helpful.
Which means they'll solve their shit first.
Things out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Solve their shit long before we do.
Because they're having the struggle, whereas Canadians don't want the struggle. They don't have to do anything. They just want to be... And then they turn around. A lot of people will turn around and be like, oh, well, even though I have all the bad views and usually I'm causing a lot of harm to people with my terribleness, I feel uncomfortable because we're having a conversation about policing. I feel uncomfortable because we're talking about queer people struggling with things. And there's examples could go on and on. And it's just ridiculous. But it holds us back so much. Because
absolutely.
Our radicals and progressives in Canada generally want to be nice to people until they get burnt out and jaded. And then it's like, all right, we're going to burn everything down in a video game. But everybody else is just like, oh, yeah, no, we can all work together because we practice the golden rule and stuff. And hey, guess what? It's not working for you. It's not going to work in my lifetime. It's not going to work in all the one Gen Zer who listens to this podcast lifetime unless we get our crap together.
Right. And, you see it a lot, too, in, like, even just in the way that, like, American satire and American critical commentary comes about. Because, like, if you look at the difference between Rick Mercer, which is sort of the mainstream Canadian media critic, right?
Yeah.
And and even the most mild of the American versions of that, they're wildly different. Like, you look at even looking at Trevor Noah, who's, like, kind of a shitbag liberal himself.
Yeah.
He's willing to say way more shit than you ever hear on a Canadian anything, right? Like, and it's the same deal for, like, people like John Oliver, who actually does say radical shit quite often. Yeah. That doesn't exist in Canada. We don't have that on a mainstream channel in Canada or any sort of mainstream outlet in Canada at all.
No.
Like, we're too polite about it. It's not that bad here, so we should probably just...
Well, at least we're not the States, right? At least we're not the
States.
States.
We like to make fun of the States. We love making fun of the States.
Yeah, but we refuse to look inward at our own completely bloodied history. Like, the reason that the RCMP exists. Like,
And we love to pat ourselves on the back when it comes to like the Underground Railroad and stuff. Like,
yeah.
we've never had our own problems, never had our own slavery, never had our own people owning or people displacements, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, even women working within the RCMP. Do you remember when they had like 3,000 women come forward about sexual assault and harassment working there?
I feel like there was just another expose about that, was there not? Or was that in the military?
Oh, that was in the military. Yeah, that was in the military. But I mean, all of those institutions have like massively problematic
fraternities.
Yeah, it's fraternities, exactly.
I think it was maybe Mo. They're the football. They're the high school football team.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
They totally are.
Yeah, literally. They go from the high school football team to police foundations, where they play on the university team, and then they go in.
And that's why you got to abolish high school football. That's the real answer.
Hey, you know what?
Get 'em while they're young.
Where I went to high school, they didn't allow football. It wasn't allowed. So maybe they were just being ACAB.
That's so
And I
progressive.
just didn't know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a
I
lot
wonder how many cops came out of your school, though.
Oh, well, I know a few, so they still found a way.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So the other story I wanted to bring up, and so this gets into a little bit more of the media criticism angle of things, which we like to do here on This Is False.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Canadian media. So you'll remember this story from back in November, when the details at the time were kind of murky, but there was an abduction of a child by a father. There ended up being a police chase of some kind, or or something happened, and both the father and the 1-year-old infant were shot and killed but presumably by police. But at the time, the media was like, well, now we don't know who actually shot them. It might have been the father.
We don't know the whole story yet.
We just know there was a shootout.
Yeah. And they barely covered it at the time. Like, there really wasn't a lot of coverage of it, and it was very much like, we don't really know what happened. It's weird. It's a dead baby. Anything could have happened, really.
Did you know your baby has a bullet in it? You should really go attend to your baby.
And now,
go attend to your baby. It's been shot.
Yeah.
So the SIU, the Special Investigations Unit, again, which is a supposedly arm's length organization that investigates whenever there is an injury or a killing or a sexual assault allegation where police are involved.
I hate the SIU.
They actually, it's terrible. We could do a whole fucking episode on why the SIU is bullshit.
That'd be cool.
Can we?
We absolutely can.
Yeah. We're gonna definitely do that.
Let's do it.
But when so the SIU investigated this, and they've released their report.
Mm-hmm.
You might have noticed there's not a ton of media coverage about this in Canada. In fact, I looked earlier. There's so fucking few articles on it, and they're like short, little detail buried. The place that has the best coverage of this, and this is not the only issue where this is the case, is the fucking Guardian, which is a British newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And they have better critical Canadian coverage than any Canadian media.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think goes to say a lot about how just fucking toothless and cowardly our shitbag mainstream media is, CBC included. Maybe CBC worst of all in some cases.
Yeah.
Because they have this sort of wider Canada project thing that they fucking do that's dumb. Where they try
I do enjoy APTN for a lot of stuff, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, APTN is fantastic.
APTN is good.
I wouldn't consider them mainstream for the most part.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I just happen to follow them on everything, so I see them a lot.
Yeah, APTN is excellent. There's some good ones too. There's Press Progress that does really good work. Canada Land occasionally does really good stuff. There are some alternatives, but they're alternatives. The CBC, CTV, Globe and Mail, National Post,
That's
Toronto Star.
where the majority of people go for their news.
Yeah, they're not fucking reporting on this shit.
No, of course they're not. You'd have to look inward, you know.
So the Guardian reported on this, and it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So we've all heard this before, because we literally talked about this last night, but I have a feeling that our reactions are still going to be equally as what the fuck as they were last night. So I'll just read a bit from this. Police killed baby when shooting at father's truck. Canada watchdog finds. Police killed baby.
Yeah.
But it was aggressive.
Yeah. So nearly 3 months after an armed confrontation in rural Canada, a police watchdog has concluded that a police bullet killed a 1-year-old baby when officers opened fire on his father's truck. In its first public finding on Thursday, Ontario's Special Investigations Unit said that a review of evidence indicated police gunfire was the cause of the child's death on the 26th of November. Quote, upon receipt and review of additional forensic evidence in the case, including the results of the post-mortem examination performed on a child and reports prepared by the Center of Forensic Sciences of analyses conducted with respect to blood stains in the pickup truck, the trajectory of the shots of the truck, and firearms, cartridge cases, and projectiles, the SIU can today confirm that the child's death was the result of being shot by police, the watchdog said.
So, okay.
It goes on.
Oh, God.
Let me get through this because it actually says what happened.
No.
The incident began when officers in the community of Kawartha Lakes responded to a domestic dispute. Police were told the father had abducted his 1-year-old son and was potentially armed. After police attempted to stop the father's pickup truck, it collided with a police car and another vehicle, seriously injuring one officer. 3 officers then fired their guns toward the vehicle, according to the SIU. The boy, who was in the back seat of the pickup truck, was struck by a bullet and pronounced dead at the scene. The 33-year-old father was also struck by police gunfire and died of his injuries 1 week later. Neither the infant nor the father has been named. Investigators seized 2 police-issue rifles and 1 police-issue pistol from the scene, as well as a pistol from the pickup truck. The SIU's finding comes 77 days after the shooting amid a lack of public transparency during the investigation.
When even the cop-loving SIU...
Former cops, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the SIU points out and is like, you know what? Yeah, they did fuck up this time. That's pretty bad. The evidence has to be pretty glaringly obvious.
Remember how much murkiness was around that?
Absolutely.
The police deliberately muddied that shit at the time.
Yes.
And
as they do. Aggressive dog is an example.
Yeah, that's what tipped us off on I remember at the time being told by people, well, you don't know how that happened. And
Even
it's
people
no,
on the
they
left.
fucking shot the goddamn kid.
Yeah,
you know they did.
Yeah.
Don't fucking
We were talking
you can
about
see
it.
what this is.
Even leftists were like, wait, just wait.
No, fuck that.
No.
Even if it was the father, I'm pretty sure that the police being present in that situation is what caused that to happen.
But, well, yeah, if you're trying to save a child, which is the reason for the Amber Alert, we all got the Amber Alert
And
for that.
why was there 3 officers that drew fire? Gave fire, shot? Why did 3 officers shoot?
Officers fired several times into a truck that they knew had an infant in it.
Yeah.
To save the baby.
To save the
baby. With bullets?
It's so fucking stupid. These fucking fascists need to be, honestly, in a video game, need to be dragged into a public square and have their fucking limbs tied to horses.
Yeah.
That is what needs to fucking happen in a video game Minecraft.
They need to be fucking abolished. They shouldn't exist. Oh.
Forget defunding.
Oh my god. Fuck them.
That poor child.
And then
they were supposed to save that baby.
And the father is alive for a week knowing that the cops killed his fucking kid? God damn.
Yep.
Fuck that.
The police opened fire on the vehicle knowing there was a 1-year-old infant that their entire job supposedly was to save. 3 of them. It wasn't this is the thing. It wasn't one officer with 1 bullet who was scared and went and shot. It was 3 officers shooting several times.
Yeah, and they
was
apparently
it the intent to disable? What was the intent here while shooting at a vehicle with a child in it that the whole point was to save the kid?
Well,
it's not like the kid and the dad were going to rob a bank full of orphans.
Exactly. Steal all the orphan dollars. But they have aim fucking stormtroopers, so they fucking instead will just shoot your baby. That's so fucked up. Fuck them.
Yeah.
We've not to continue with this trend of talking about what we talked about in the last episode, but it's a lot of people will personalize these kinds of stories to say, oh, somebody just messed up and they're this and there's that. But the issue is systemic. It's not that there's just like we said before, 20 minutes ago, it's not that there are individual bad cops and individual good cops, or that there's individual good people or individual bad people in the system. It's that the system is designed this way. The entire system of policing was designed to enforce colonization in Canada and to uphold the system of slavery in America, right?
Yeah.
So the idea the idea that like there is something like the whole point is to challenge the system and to eliminate and change it, and that's why abolishing it is where people are at, because that's what's needed.
Not to mention, we were discussing how they were funded. They're funded so many times over because there's local, provincial, federal police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in Windsor, we pay 102 million. That's the funding they get from all sources, and it's all government sources, so it's all us. Whether or not the province is kicking in an extra 10 or 15 million is
it doesn't
irrelevant.
matter. It's still our taxes.
So like they were over 102 million last year, and they're getting a raise this year. You also then have to factor in the fact that we're also paying for the OPP and the RCMP for overlapping jurisdiction in a lot of cases.
And bylaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, bylaw, the
bylaw.
parking cops.
Yeah.
But like, and I mentioned this before too, but like the way, like, and this is where maybe I'm glad that the last episode, because I meant to check into this and didn't. So if I'm wrong about this, someone please let me know. But I'm pretty sure it was our illustrious Ward 3 councillor, Reno
Beefaroni.
I thought it was Bottle Snacks.
Bomb hits.
Birkenstock.
That's
Thank
what
you.
it is. Thank you.
Reno bomb hits.
He was on Rose City Politics, the local lib podcast, talking about the defund the police movement last July-ish at some point. And he was talking about how it's not that simple to defund the police on a local level, because the police unions work into their contract that they can't be defunded. That they can't reduce their funding in any way. They have to be given increases in funding.
Yeah.
Wait, unions can do that?
Who knew?
It would be great if they could.
I thought that's collective bargaining?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, you collectively bargained that, Reno. Well, maybe not Reno directly, but the Police Services Board and the City of Windsor collectively bargained that. You didn't fucking have to. You could have been like, nah, we're not gonna put that stupid clause in there. Like,
but the police aren't actually a union. Like, they're a union, but they're not.
No.
They're not a union.
It's a cartel.
Exactly.
Is what it is. Yeah.
It's
a criminal cartel.
It's a mob.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't want to have the police go on strike or anything.
Oh God! Remember when they threatened? Remember they did that in New York? The NYPD was like, "Fine, you want us gun? We're a gun," and they like walked up the job, and then crime went down like a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's like a textbook gaslighting tactic for abusers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see what will happen without me? That's like psychology 101 for abusers.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Please fuck off. Please fuck off and die.
Please do a fuck off now.
Not you, Josh. You're cool. Yeah, you're good.
You're cool.
Oh, you got the buffs. Yeah, oh, you go, boy.
Washy.
Oh.
Joshy hate cops. I bite them. I bite the cops in Minecraft.
No, he bites in
Joshy
real life.
says 1312.
Mo just dropped
We
out.
lost Mo.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, Mo.
Oh.
Oh.
He's back. He's
Mo's back.
Oh, God damn it. I hate the internet so much. What even happened? Like, it was working, and then I couldn't talk. It was so weird.
Aww.
Oh.
You're back now.
Well, that was a good episode. How about you?
So we are at oh, what happened there? Oh, Josh.
My fucking dog. Josh, come
on,
here.
get off that. What did you even do?
Can we get shirts that are of Josh that just say on the internet and a picture of Josh?
Yes.
I mean, in a video game, sorry.
In a video game?
It'll
In a
just
video
be
game?
Josh, and it'll say a wedged we.
A wedge.
I want to get ones that just say political statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's my boomer.
We gotta figure out who the liberal the liberal t-shirt maker is. Get a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to name them because I don't want to be a dick locally. So, I know, would you mind me indulging in a story?
I would love for you to
Please.
indulge in a story.
An ACAB story. ACAB for Cutie.
100%.
Hold on, let me get in the mind space here.
Yes, and also act surprised because none of you have heard this story before.
Right.
It is shocking, though.
So when we first started this podcast, Pam Spanish and I, we were inflammatory, as we still are, but I think we were a lot more inflammatory in the first few episodes. We were just really yelling at people.
Well, you guys
Really
had a lot
just-
to get off your chests.
We did. Yeah, we started the podcast for a reason. We were pissed off about a lot of things, and one of the things that we were pissed off about was police. We had been dealing a lot with them down in the rail cut and other sort of working with unhoused folks.
Yep.
In the city, and we'd had a lot of like run-ins with them, and so our second episode, we released ACAB for Cutie, the first edition, and Pam did a bunch of research and like had we did a whole episode on it where we were very yelly. And shortly after that episode dropped, I remember we were kind of talking about how like should we be paranoid about cops potentially like hearing this and maybe following us around or intimidating us in some way.
Which you would think would be like just a really irrational thing to think, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd say this around
Yeah.
some people and you'd be like, you're a conspiracy theorist and you're paranoid.
Yeah, take off the tinfoil hat,
Yeah,
bud.
like maybe go to a hospital.
Yeah.
So I was driving back from April's place. This would have been shortly after her and I started dating, so I don't know. It would have been around that time. It would have been around the beginning of August.
Yeah.
And I was driving back, and she was staying over like in the Wyandotte Town Center area, just east of downtown. And so I had driven down Wyandotte, and like this cop had pulled out behind me and was kind of staying behind me, and I was like, oh, I think they might be following me, but I'm probably being paranoid. So I took like a sort of meandering route down to Riverside, and at every turn the cop followed me and continued to follow me. So like, okay, well, they're definitely following me, but maybe I'm being paranoid as to why. They will sometimes just follow people around. This is the creepy fucking thing they do.
Yeah.
So I get down to Riverside and I start heading west toward my apartment. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like slowing down to 40 and 35 and speeding up to 60 and like, you know, trying to do that kind of stuff. And the cop is staying behind me. And so now I'm like very convinced that they're following me. And so I didn't want to like follow them in to my apartment complex because I'd actually done that one other time when a cop had followed me home, and they came into the parking lot with me and then drove around the parking lot and left. And this was before we started the podcast, so I had less to be paranoid about. But I've been, you know, a lefty activist forever, so who knows what fucking list I'm on in the city.
All of
But
them.
all of them. And
Not just in the city.
yeah, why not? Oh, I got stories about being on the fucking international watch list too, but that's a whole other thing. So I continued down past my apartment, and I turned up in one of the first few streets just east of where I am, or just west of where I am, in like Askin or something. And the cop turned up there with me, so I pulled over onto the side of the road and parked in a spot, and the cop came right up behind me and sat there. No lights on,
Oh,
no
fuck.
nothing. They didn't pull me over. They were just behind me. So I called April and was freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, there's a cop behind me right now. They've followed me back from your place. I know they're
I'm
following
about to get
me.
my ass kicked.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
Like, do I leave? Because now have they pulled me over? Then do I start a police chase? What the fuck do I do? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting out
Are
of the
you
car.
free to go?
Yeah, am I free to go? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Cop's just sitting behind me. So I stayed on the phone with April for probably 10 minutes.
And he's
And,
just
like-
behind you?
And he's just behind me. Car running, lights on. Like, headlights. No
No cherries.
No
Sorry.
cherries. No cherries. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to drive because I don't know what else to do here. So I got off the phone with April and I started driving, and the cop pulled out and continued to follow me.
Ugh.
And I turned left back onto University and came back down east down University
Yeah.
and did one of the slow down to 35 things again. And the cop finally pulled out beside me, came right up beside me, kind of looked in the car, and then peeled off rather aggressively.
We're watching
Oh,
you, man.
fuck.
Yeah, and then so
And waiting
so
for
I
probable cause.
yeah, so I turned around and came back to my apartment. I kind of made a meandery way to get back because I didn't want to, like, who knows? They got fucking other cars following me. I have no idea. So I was very careful about it. So like that was like, I mean, who knows why they did that? But I'm a white
it's a
I'm a white
tactic.
dude. I'm a white dude driving a Pontiac Vibe. Okay, like not a typical target to be followed around like that. So there's probably some external reason why they've chosen to follow me around, right?
Yeah.
And it's can't be a coincidence that like a week before that, I was very loud on social media and through a podcast yelling about cops.
Yeah.
Naming them.
Yeah.
Naming them too,
naming them
like
for their shit, like doing all kinds of that stuff.
and naming badge numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, you know what?
Which is perfectly
we have
legal, by
every
the way.
fucking right to do.
Yeah, perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so is what he did, because that's like an incel tactic of scaring people without crossing a line where you can be legally held accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
You are allowed to follow someone and intimidate them. And like you said, you're a white dude, but like, could you imagine what that was a scary situation for you?
Yeah, oh, it's terrifying. I was like shitting my pants. Like it
And
was
could
bad.
you imagine if you were even, you had the leftist reason, sure, but you probably weren't feared for, like, maybe you could get your ass kicked, but you probably weren't going to get killed.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I
wouldn't
didn't-
kill you
I
because
didn't
there'd be
think likely.
outrage because you're a white guy.
I didn't think likely they would, but I don't fucking know what these assholes will do. They'll just off and shoot a fucking Rottweiler for no reason. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, the point you're making is that if I was black, for instance,
Or
you'd
a
have-
woman.
or a woman, you'd have perfect reason to believe you were going to be sexually assaulted and or killed.
You would be
Yeah.
pulled over for going under the speed limit or something. Some
Yeah.
bullshit thing like that.
I was almost trying to get pulled over because it was like,
Yeah.
well, at least
Make
fucking,
it stop.
at least fucking tell me what the fuck you're doing,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like, but they weren't going to do that.
It's like when my cat finds a bug and it doesn't want to kill it, it just like bats at it a little.
Yeah, it just makes its life horrible for a while.
Yeah, like, but you're a cop. You're supposed to be protecting people, not picking on them.
Yeah, but that's what they do. Like, that's standard. I mean, I've been followed by cops in every city that I've lived in, except for London. But fuck London cops too.
Oh, they're terrible too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've been intimidated. I've been, called by name and, cops telling me things that very personal things about me that they know. Like that I've changed my hair in the last couple weeks. Like, they were watching you. They followed me. I've gotten out of my car before because I was being followed by a cop. And because I knew that if I wasn't in my car, they couldn't ask for my ID. So I was like,
Is that true?
Yeah, unless you're in a vehicle. So if they make up some probable reason that they could ask you for your ID, but
Yeah.
it's got to be a good reason. But if you're in your vehicle or on a bicycle, they can ask you for your ID.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't. It's carding, right? Like they can't
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
card people.
Yeah.
But I've gotten out of my vehicle before because I've been like, well, fuck that shit, because I don't trust myself. I'm nervous. I'm driving, and I don't trust myself to not make some sort of stupid mistake while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And then
And
get
cops
pulled
will be
over.
like, "Why are you nervous?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. You should have no reason to be nervous. Well, I mean, the sexual assault rates among
Yeah. Well, I was looking through the SIU website where they have some of the status of cases on their website, and you can and it's got like the category of case type, so like custody injury, custody death, firearm death, whatever. And they have the sexual assault allegation category, which is specifically, if the SIU is involved, is a sexual assault allegation against a police officer.
Yeah.
Like
And-
the fuck?
And just in 2021, so we're what, 2.5 to almost 3 months in, not quite 3 months in.
Mm-hmm.
18 reported sexual assault allegations against police officers across just Ontario. 18. And that's just the reported ones, which, is like a tip of the iceberg sort of situation, right?
Yeah. That's fucked.
And they're from everywhere. It's like Barrie, Sarnia, Peel, Toronto, Ottawa, Niagara, Kawartha Lakes. It's everywhere.
Oh, just Ontario.
Just Ontario.
That makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
And that's on the SIU's own website. So
Yeah.
how often it's actually happening.
Yeah.
How many of those are, like, you've got to think about how many things are going unreported too. Like,
Oh.
nobody wants to take, like,
Especially against cops. Especially against cops.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you really, like the low rate of reporting in the general population, magnify that by about 1 million when the guy's got a fucking gun and buddies who will definitely kill you if you try to go after him.
Yeah, and then
And
you
we
also
still have a 40% reported abuse rate.
Exactly, because you have to go through it again and again and again in court and get asked 1 million questions about why you're such a slut and and you just have to, and you're doing this not against just random Joe. You're having to go up against a cop and all of his fucking buddies. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't report that shit because I
Nope.
know, like, what's the point? I've already got a black mark on my name. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna make it worse for myself. It'll just make everything worse. You know that it's gonna just get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Existing will become worse for you because you've reported it. Just
Exactly.
existing.
Exactly.
Actually, it's funny. A well-known communist activist in this city that both Mo and I don't want to name them just in case they don't want to be named in this, but a well-known communist activist was followed around by CSIS and RCMP here in Windsor for months and months and months, to the point where it became a joke. Like, they'd leave their door and wave at them kind of shit, because they'd be like sitting in a car outside their house.
Yeah.
And they approached him, CSIS agents approached him at the farmer's market where he was selling worms for compost. It's just like the kind of
It's like the crunchiest shit I've ever heard.
like,
Amazing.
but this is the kind of shit they do, right? Like, they're just, it's just a blatant intimidation tactic, because they had nothing on him, and like, and he
I don't know,
hadn't done
man.
anything illegal.
Vermicomposting is pretty damning.
Yeah, it's true. How you doing, Mo? You've been quiet. Feel like
I've just been enjoying and basking. I was about to say, like, what did they think about it? Was it like this was the big communist plot to take down society? It's through subsistence farming and composting.
Well, they had been followed
like-
because their
Oh, yeah.
activism on campus, right?
I
But-
Yeah.
really love the picture that draws, though, of like the communist at the farmer's market selling compost worms. Like, he's
yeah,
the
like the
Freeze!
most granola
Drop your
crunchy,
worms!
yeah.
like hippie bearded dude who wouldn't hurt a fly.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like he's the threat.
yeah, he's the big threat in
That's
the world.
the threat.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I mean,
amazing.
True.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to put your worms down. I have a few questions for you.
Yeah,
Those worms are a weapon.
Well, I
Shoot 'em.
mean,
those worms are
if
acting
you read
aggressive.
the latest Marxist-Leninist Maoist tracts on the internet, I mean, the goal is to train worms to start the next proletarian revolution. I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually, that's the newest trend.
He's building
Project
the
Earthworm
Antifa
Jim.
army.
So we've got plenty of run here for editing Travis to go through tonight.
Yep.
But this was good. This is better than I thought it was going to be, doing it for the second time.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a shit show, but this turned out
Kind of
all
all
right.
right.
Yeah.
I thought this was
Good
going to
work,
be
team.
the piss, but it actually turned out to be not that.
Yeah. I think Kit's going to be semi-regular.
I would like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
think
like that.
I think that's what we should do.
Yeah,
Transition
definitely.
from superfan to band member, which I'm pretty sure is the Robbie Robertson path
Nice.
from the band.
That-
That's a dated
That's my
reference.
name. Just call me
okay.
Robbie Robertson.
We're old as fuck.
Hey man, the
Kitty
band
Kitterson.
rules. Don't fuck with the,
The
band.
band fucking
The
rules.
band fucking slaps. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next week we're gonna do an episode. It's gonna be on like the 30th or 31st, right at the end of the month. But what's important about next week is that will be a day or two after the Bessemer workers of the Amazon plant in Alabama will have voted, hopefully, to be in a union.
Yes.
So we're either going to be super fucking excited and we're going to talk about that, or we're going to be
devastated.
super devastated and talk about it.
So it's
Either
going to be
way-
Union Hype Host or Union Sad Host?
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident. Everything I've been reading seems to be like,
It seems pretty pro
but
union so far.
we thought Bernie was going to get the nomination too, and look how that fucking turned out.
All we got was the mittens meme.
You know, Barack Obama came out of the woodwork and made some calls, and fucking there it went. The left wing
And
was
then-
destroyed in the U.S.
Yeah.
Ditto Biden.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So,
Sniffing
Joe
weirdo.
Biden.
oh yeah.
I-
Did you see that he fell up the stairs going on to Air Force One?
was he chewing gum while he was trying to?
Did
Sorry.
you not see it?
No.
It's so good. He falls like 3 times. And then
Oh
and then
my
you go to
God.
fucking Snopes. By the way, Snopes has become just a piece of shit website at this point. You know Snopes, you know,
yeah.
the fact-checking website?
Yeah.
Like you can literally watch a video of Joe Biden falling up the stairs on Air Force One. Like you can see it with your own 2 eyes.
Are they like it's false?
They said it was mostly
Unverified.
false. They said it was
ridiculous.
mostly false because he didn't actually fall by the definition of
stumbled.
falling. It's like, fuck off.
I'm watching it right now.
tell us what we're seeing with our eyes is wrong. He's having a hard time. He falls like 3 times.
Hey, did he bomb Syria recently? I feel like he bombed Syria recently.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, we talked about it. He definitely did.
Oh my god, he does he's like pretty...
And then he does like a salute at the top. I kind of love him. If he wasn't a fucking war criminal, I kind of like.
And then dejectedly walks into the plane. He has a pretty
dope.
good jaunt on at the beginning, and then he has the he tries to recover with the whole I didn't trip. That's just how I walk. But then he fully goes down. That's amazing.
But liberals are just like, well, it's fucking ageist to shut up. No one actually cares.
Yeah,
if
I don't want to
He
hear.
straight up Ashley Simpson did at the end with that little salute.
Man, everybody falls up the stairs sometimes.
I mean,
you ever been to the Loop?
I literally did it 2 days ago on my fucking the Loop. Jesus, that staircase.
There are fully reasons why I never get an apartment with stairs.
I fell up the stairs with a bag of cat food once.
That's comical.
Oh.
And the bag of cat food broke
Did it break?
and went fucking everywhere. No. It was a $50 bag of cat food.
And the cats.
I was so mad.
All the cats within a 3-block radius are like, Prost cow.
I got the fucking dustpan and I fed it to my cats anyway. I wasn't gonna fucking throw away a $50 bag of food. Jesus Christ.
No, of course not. Why would anyone do that?
No, that's
No.
not Rockefeller.
All right.
Cats are excellent sorters.
That's true.
Okay, well, until next week.
Mm-hmm.
Go Bessemer, man.
Yeah,
Just
go Bessemer.
fucking do it. We
Allons-y
believe in you.
Get the ball
Bessemer.
running.
That and the history of that is so cool. The history of that town is so fucking cool. Everything about that whole thing, if that goes through, is going to be a game changer, and I'm
Some
really
Union
excited.
blood.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Solidarity, Bessemer.
We love you.
We're gonna do the. Oh, don't get it in my head. Don't get it in my head. La la la. No.
I'm sorry.
The Union's inspiration.
You know,
actually,
I hate that fucking song. I hate it.
This entire
That
episode,
makes me a bad leftist, but I hate it.
this entire episode, I've had this song, Love Me, Love Me, Love Me, I'm a liberal.
That's a great song.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is. I've had that.
Phil Oakes classic right
Yeah,
there.
I've had that stuck in my head this whole episode.
Yeah.
But did you have the Jello Biafra version, or what was it?
No, but I'm a diehard DK fan, and
Yeah.
I definitely,
Yeah, fuck yeah, the Dead Kennedys, man.
yeah,
They're a great band.
yeah.
I don't care how juvenile it makes me sound. They're real ones too. They never sold out really entirely.
I feel like some shit went down later on.
Did it? 'Cause, like,
Jello,
Because what's his name? The lead guy.
Jello
was, like,
Biafra, he
was like showing up to fucking protests and shit like 2
oh yeah,
years ago.
he's a real one.
Yeah.
But he then left and started the Jello Biafra in the Guantanamo School of Medicine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went to go see them, and I died. I almost pissed my pants because I just love him so much. But I also saw the Dead Kennedys at Cawley office in London, and it was a
so badass.
different
Awesome.
vibe. Like, it was just it was after Jello had left.
Oh well, there's the key.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
also get East Bay Ray to sign my tits at the time, though. Because I'm that person. I have no shame.
There's a really good. We're not going to rehash it, but there's a really great story if you want to find it of George Stroumboulopoulos talking about how he met Jello at a rally in Montreal, and like Jello saved him from like getting the shit kicked out of him from cops.
That's amazing.
It's such a fucking cool story.
Oh, I love
That's
Jello.
Go
amazing.
seek it out. Mo,
Yep.
I feel like we just talked over you the whole time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry.
no. Like, we did great. This was amazing, and I think I lost a little bit of spirit after I couldn't get this dang camera to work.
Yeah.
It's
But
okay.
this was a good episode.
We'll put up a good picture. Hopefully
Yeah.
this time it actually
Yeah.
recorded properly.
Hey, check that before I turn off Audacity.
Yeah. Well, let's do the okay bye and get the fuck out.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
We should be doing like the harmonizing. Okay bye. Okay bye.
Okay, au revoir.